We just wrote here. It is May the 17th, going in 18th, 2020. I'll come back to the video. Guys, we got quite a bit of stuff to talk to, so I'm just going to jump into it. First thing I want to say, guys, we still need to keep Marv in our prayers. He was diagnosed with diverticulitis. For those that don't know, basically what that is little bubbles or balloons form in your intestines, and food collects in there as it's going through digestion. There is no cure for this, okay? This is something he'll have to deal with the rest of his life. Now, this is also, it's very treatable just by changing your diet. And sometimes, guys, well, almost all the time, that's very hard to do. So he won't be able to eat nuts, and there's a bunch of other stuff he shouldn't, be eating. If he does, he could risk, an episode. And it's very painful, and all the above. Infections can happen. Actually, it can burst if it gets too full, and that's even more dangerous because then you got your contents of your intestines just spilling out into your gut, and that's very, very dangerous. So we need to keep him in our prayers. Hopefully he's, because it can be very, very painful also. So I don't know the extent. I haven't talked to Adam, himself, but Dex did a show for him last night, and yes, that's what he had, was diverticulitis. So, just so everybody knows. But let's keep him in our prayers, guys. Guys, we're going to talk about Comet Atlas also. It actually has a comet within a comet now, guys. Pretty cool. We'll take a look at it here in a minute. But, guys, we're having another spike right here. Now, remember around the 16 to 1700 hour mark, we were seeing a spike every day for like 5 days in a row. Now, we had another spike over here, but I'm not really going to consider that part of that time frame. But this one, right back to it. So 6 out of 7 days, we've had a spike at 16 to 1700 UTC. I just really have a hard time thinking that is something that's a natural occurrence. And also you can see here where these are pulses. Okay, but this one is different. See how there's no, blue or green in between there, like it's stopping and starting? That's a more consistent increase. It just stayed. Once it started humming, it stayed there. Okay? It wasn't going on and off, on and off, on and off. So, again, guys, that can affect us mentally, big time. That can affect us physically, big time. For those that don't know anything about this, please research it. Go back and watch some of my videos. Go watch Mike and Cindy over at Evolutionary Energy Arts, some of their videos. And a lot of other people, guys. Sorry about that. I had one of my kids walk through the room, which is why I do my stuff on my phone. Where was I? Oh, yeah. Also, Higher Realm Holistics. Guys, go check that out, too. She does a really good job over there explaining the Schumann and all that, and there's a lot of other stuff she talks about, too. So go check her out over there. It's a good place to learn about the Schumann, for sure. So, but anyway, we're going to go ahead and jump into the other parts of this. Okay, guys, I got you over here at spaceweather.com. Again, they're doing a great job. Guys, go check these guys out, please. But as you can see here, they're talking about sunspots, the sunspot from the new solar cycle. Those active areas that were coming around the limb of the sun, as they become Earth-facing, they will, investigate and see if it's actual sunspot or not. If it is, it's most likely from solar cycle 25. So I would say that. We'll talk about that some more here in a minute. But look, check this out, guys. A comet within a comet. Man, this Comet Atlas don't want to come out of the news. For sure. This thing is broken up into a bunch of different pieces. I've talked about that already. As this thing gets closer to the sun, it ain't going to make it back out, guys. It's pretty much the consensus right now. It ain't going to slingshot around the sun and go back out for another trip. Most likely, before it even gets to the sun, it's probably going to disintegrate. It may not even make it to the sun. We'll have to wait and see. But what's interesting right now is, check it out. This right here, can you guys see that? Okay, here's the initial main body of it. But if you look here, what's happened is it's got a mini comet inside it, and it's part of the original comet itself anyway. But what makes it crazy is it's got its own coma and tail. So it's actually it's spewing out its own gases. The solar wind is interacting with it, and everything else is like a normal comet, but this is inside of this other comet. Now, I'm sure this isn't the first time this has ever happened. I've really never typically heard of this, but I guarantee you it's happened before in other places in space, even in here in our own solar system, probably. But you guys can see that part of it, but check this black and white version out. Look at that. Ain't that cool? Really cool stuff, guys. So go check out this article over there. I'll leave a link like I always do for these guys. So yeah, I mean, look at that. And I guess it's putting off some pretty decent color too. Obviously, you can't go outside and look at it with your naked eye. It would have to be like, I think it's a magnitude 5-star in brightness. I talked about that level before. Right around 5 or 6 is about what our natural vision can pick up. Without that, we would need telescope, binocular, something to aid us to be able to see it. And right now, that's what we need on this one. Now, we can't forget about Comet Swan either. It's visible now in the northern hemisphere. We're going to watch that one as it goes through. But there's a lot to talk about here, guys. I mean, so we're going to go over and check out the sun and all that. So hang in there. All right, guys, got you over at Soho, over at Seeds. This is our view, okay? That's Earth. The satellite's there looking at the sun. That's our perspective. Now we can see that we're still having activity. That's what I would say here. We are moving into a more active time because what's going to happen is we're moving towards solar maximum, okay? We're going to start coming out of solar minimum. But what I would say to this is that I think that we're moving into the solar maximum faster than what we normally would. So why is that? But if you go back and look at archive data or any of the data from history here, you can tell that we're moving faster into a more active time. It typically would take longer for us to see increased activity. Now, this is not strong activity. It's just more frequent. Okay? Also, we've been fairly lucky that even this small stuff isn't coming at us. This is actually going off the sides of the sun in other directions. It's not coming at us. So that's a good thing. So, just know that our shields are about 20% weaker than what they normally are. So that's why we want it to take a few, up to a year, even more, to get our shield strength back up before the sun starts firing stuff at us that is really, really strong. That's the danger here. Because as these sunspots come Earth-facing, right, there's going to be more activity around a sunspot than where there is none. So the chances of us having a larger solar flare or a CME are greater around these sunspots. And if they're facing us, that's even more dangerous because the chances of it coming our direction is higher. So that's what I would say to that. We're not getting activity every 2 or 3 weeks now, or even 4 or 5 days. We're seeing activity every day. It's small, it's not strong, but it's still activity. So, okay, guys, I got you over at Stereo A. Now, this is what I want to say to this real quick. You're seeing that little glitch, right? Right there. See that little blackout glitch? That was the same day that Soho, LASCO C2, missed all that data. All right? Now, just to give you some perspective again, the Earth is here. This satellite is here. So we were looking from over here, and this one's over here. These are millions and millions of miles away. Okay, so for them to glitch at the same time, it's probably related. Like from a flash from a solar flare or something like that. It could be a really small solar flare, guys. Okay? That could cause these things to glitch out a little bit like this. But I can't say for sure what that is. But anyway, I seen something here that really caught my eye. I'm sure you guys are seeing now as I zoomed in there. We'll look right there. I don't know what that is. Right there. Okay? This tool, when it sees something bright, it puts a gray box in front of it. You see that? And that's just to protect it so it can even actually get a capture. because a real bright light will corrupt the data, and it doesn't give us a good view at all. Now, stereo A here, guys, is highly pixelated anyway. We don't really like using it, but we don't have any choice. There's no other options out there than to use this one. These satellites have already outlived their expected lifetime. So, take that for whatever it's worth. They don't have the electromagnetic field to protect it like the Earth does. So anytime these things get hit with any solar weather, CMEs, solar flares, solar wind, they just get battered. Okay? So anyway, but what we're seeing, what is that? Right? So I asked myself the same question. I'm like, well, what is that? Is it a star? Is it a known star, a known planet that's there? Because if we go over here and look in the red, you really don't see a whole lot of it. Okay? Now, if we zoom in real close, we might be able to see like a faint shadow. And again, this is so highly pixelated, it's hard to even pick it out. So, but you definitely can see something right there. And again, is it a known star? Very well could be. But what we're going to do, we're going to go over to Solar System Scope and look at it. Okay, guys, this is Solar System Scope. Now, I'm going to show you a mistake that I made way back in the day. Not back in the day, actually just a few months ago. And I had to correct myself on it. And this is what it was. Now, I was over here, I was trying to show you guys what an object was, or what I thought it was on LASCO C2. And I ended up being wrong. Now, the reason why I was wrong, the reason why I missed it, was the fact that if you look at the planets here, sorry about that, when you guys get a free version of this, it throws those ads up in there, just so you know. But if I scroll around, this is a top-down view. Here's Earth. Okay, so we're going to zoom in right here, and I'm going to show you something. This is what they call large view. Now, to actually see what's there, we need to put this into what they call realistic view. Notice the size of everything there. Now, watch what happens when I turn it to realistic. See that? We'll do that again. There's what I was looking at. Here's realistic. Okay? So don't make the same mistake as me. Now, obviously that's to scale. The planets and the suns at scale now, as we're looking at it. So, here's Earth. Stereo A is on the same orbital path as Earth. It is not, let me back out a little bit so we can do this real quick. Okay, I'm going to go with right about here. I'm going to get my draw tool out. Sorry. Okay, here's Earth. We draw a straight line to the sun and we go 90 degrees, right? Well, stereo A is not 90 degrees. Stereo A is kind of over here. It's not quite 90 degrees away. It's on the same orbital path as the Earth, but it's behind or ahead of us, however you want to say that. That's how it got its name, stereo ahead. And stereo B would have been over here. They call it stereo behind, right? Again, they've already outlived their expected lifetime, so we don't get nothing from stereo B anymore anyway, because of Scott was catching all kinds of stuff on that one, and so were other people, and they came up with, they said that we lost communications with it and all that. I'm not going to go into that, but anyway. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here to the rough area of where stereo A is, right? And this is on, this here, that's May 17th. We need to go back a day, but I'm not going to because it doesn't matter, because nothing was there at that time either. I've already done this, just so you guys know, but I want you guys to run through it with me. So stereo A is roughly, and this is just a rough estimate, about right here. Okay, maybe over here a little bit. Alright? So we get behind it and we start zooming in. We start looking. What's there? Right? Now, so we'll start zooming in towards the sun. And I'm not seeing anything but Neptune. Okay? Now, can Neptune be that bright? I don't know. Is it another star that's just not here? I don't know. I don't know what it is. Okay? It does not look to be Mercury or Venus. Mercury and Venus are over here, guys. Venus is way over here. So it's not one of those. And I just showed you on stereo A how it looked like it was coming from behind too, like it was moving this way a little bit. I don't know. It would be coming towards us anyway because we're looking from stereo A. Earth is over here. Okay? So let me back off again. Now I want to show you what I'm talking about here, because if there was something there, this is how I missed it and made that mistake before. So if I had been looking at this, I would have seen my mistake. But I was looking at this. See? See how you can make a mistake like that? I just don't want you guys to make the same mistake. That's all. Alright? Now I do find it kind of interesting that this planetary alignment's happening right now too. Okay? Obviously they're not lined up with the sun, but they're lined up with each other in that area. And that, let's put that back on realistic. Okay? So if we do that, we have to keep in mind that, you know, because these are pretty much in a straight line, but all three of us, the Earth, Venus, and Mercury, are connected to the sun too. So, you know, we talk about that angle. Those angles can actually cause earthquakes and stuff. So, that's what I would say to that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you guys over to SDO real quick. But just to reiterate, guys, I don't know what that object was we've seen on stereo A. If anybody else does know what it is, please let me know. I'm not seeing nothing here, but, you know, has to be something. Was it something that was intentional, or was it something that's just being missed, or what? Again, I don't know. I'm not seeing anything. We have to be looking from over here, but about right here. The only thing I can see is Neptune. It could be Neptune, I guess. I don't know, but I just wanted to show that to you guys. So we'll go ahead and move on. Okay, guys, this is SDO, and obviously, you know, guys, we're looking at this active area over here. That is the most active area, and as you can tell, it's coming around to be Earth facing. So if this thing does anything, like flares, all that kind of stuff, we're probably going to catch some of it. All right, and this is what I was trying to say. The next week or so, we really need to pay attention to this thing, because it's going to be in front of us. This thing has been active. If you go over to stereo A and look at the extreme ultraviolet captures, just like we're looking at here from the different satellite, you're going to see that that thing is healthy. Okay? Not to mention, like right here, it did have a CME. Watch. We'll just let it play through a couple times here so you can see it. It's pretty evident when it happens. Here it comes. It kind of splits. Boom. See that? That's a CME. Alright? And then you can see how everything is emanating from that central sunspot. Even that CME. Even though it looked like it was coming from way over here, but its origins were related to that sunspot. I'm calling it a sunspot. It could be coronal prominence. It may not be an official sunspot. I look for it to be, because it does look like it's going to be. But that's very active, guys. Okay? I already showed you the flare that it had yesterday or the day before. But just look at the sun as a whole. Okay, look around the limbs. You see all that activity that's going on? Not just on one side, but, and again, I have to point out, it's all around these sunspots. Okay? You know, that's just what it is. So we have another secondary spot here that kind of popped up. And this thing is doing stuff too. It's constantly putting out energy. Watch. Okay? We're going to see it more as it comes Earth facing too. So just to kind of give you guys an idea of what I'm talking about here, is these spots are active. Not only do we have one, now we have two that are going to be on the Earth facing side at the same time. So our chances of actually having some sort of a flare, a CME, geomagnetic unrest, even storm level stuff, is way higher than what it would be without this happening. So we have to be on alert here a little bit. Okay, that's what I'm saying. And again, nothing may not happen. We just don't know, and that's why we talk about it. But on this side, there's stuff going on here. There's an old sunspot that rotated off too over here, guys. So that's probably where that activity's coming from. We've seen these sunspots last for multiple cycles. It would orbit around the sun, or rotate around the sun multiple times. That happens. Okay. But I've already shown you guys too. If you look at the sun when it's in solar maximum, it wouldn't even look like this. It would be way brighter, way more active even than this. But the difference is, during the solar maximum, our shields aren't 20% weaker than what they are right now. That's the difference. Okay. So anyway, you've seen all this stuff. Now, I think I see kind of like a blur going on up here too. Let's see what it does here. Right in here. Let's see what it does. Yep, you see that? It kind of like something was going on there. It might not have been related to that sunspot because it looked like to be off of it, but yeah. So I mean, we got these areas of the sun, guys, that are coming around, and we have to pay attention to this because they've already flared before. It's constant action with these things right now. So as they come around, we really have to pay attention. So that's what I would say to that. Okay, guys, I wanted to drop in here to USGS to show you something real quick. But when I clicked over here, I actually had a decent-sized earthquake happening over here in Japan. 5.1. It's pretty decent size. But what I want to point out, you see the other earthquakes here? Nevada, Panama, but most 4.9 in Sweden. Wow. But some of these in Nevada, California border here, they're, higher 4 level, and, it's a wide range. But if you guys remember last year during Ridgecrest, when we had that bigger earthquake out there, and then a bunch of other smaller aftershock or earthquakes in that same area for an extended period of time. That's kind of what we're seeing here. I mean, we're seeing a lot of action going on in Nevada here. It hasn't stopped since the initial quake. And some of these are of substantial size. Now, the only good thing about this, or silver lining, I should say, is the fact that nobody lives out there. Not very many people, anyway, I should say. It's not a highly developed area, but it's still happening. It was across from, I think it was like across from like a volcanic area. This was not on a major fault line, okay? Which is, I guess, I was listening to Dutch, and he was saying that this is the largest earthquake in this area in years. So that's significant, guys. And that's why I'm talking about it. Now, we got a coronal hole that's going to be giving us some solar weather, or increased solar wind and stuff here coming in the next day or two. And as that does get here, we should be on the lookout for some sort of a quake somewhere. We always see increases when we get solar weather. So that's what I would say to that. Now, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. But what I want to say, well, let me turn this map on so you guys can kind of see it. Listen, let's continue to pray for Marv, and continue to pray for Scott and his situation. Guys, that situation over there ain't going to stop for some time. His kids are going to be dealing with that for a very long time. And so they're all going to need our prayers. And I have to say this. You guys came through in such a big way that I just can't even believe it. It was amazing to watch. I felt privileged to be a part of that. You guys made, oh my gosh, I just can't even say it enough. That you guys made something possible that was not going to happen. And it really made that whole thing for his kids a lot different. Okay. I'm not going to go into the whole story of what actually happened. Most people know that Scott's ex-wife had committed suicide, and that's what we were dealing with over there. And there was some stuff around some funeral arrangements and stuff, and most people know already. But it humbled me, completely humbled me, to know that, and I knew that everybody here was like that anyway, you know, because I could see it in you guys from the beginning. And thank you guys for coming through for that. I mean, it was just so, man, I can't say enough. And it makes me realize that, number one, I have the best subscribers in the world. Okay. Number two, you guys are just awesome. Number three, there's more good people in this world than there is bad. And that should be a positive enough to keep us moving forward. So put a smile on that face. Thank you guys so much for everything that you do and have done. Keep Marv and Scott in your prayers. And let's keep moving, guys. God bless. Yeshua saves, and you can drink this Kool-Aid.